Rotarians and guests, are we on? Yeah, I think we're on. Welcome to the one and only Rotary Club of York, which I can say, without a doubt, is the finest Rotary Club in all the world that I have ever had the pleasure of serving. I am your club president, Aaron Jacobs, and you're not going to believe this, but today is a great day to be a Rotarian. You guys are getting it now. And your wondering mind might be pondering why today is such a great day to be a Rotarian. And I would tell you that every day is a great day to be a Rotarian because we are founded in service above self and we follow the four-way test. Ella, would you indulge us? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? It always fills me with joy to hear the affirmation of our ethos recited in unison. And I am also pleased to have some fellow Rotarians at the podium to kick off our program today. Steve Feldman will lead us in our song, My Country 'Tis of Thee, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our invocation will be led by past District Governor Dick Brown, and our guests will be introduced by our Executive Director, Lynn Morrison. Steve, let's get going.
Please join me. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us reflect on the divine builder. As we think of our homes, workplaces, and places of worship, we extend gratitude for those who have bonded wood and steel beams to plywood and placed brick upon brick. Engineers, architects, designers, and project managers brought forth dreams on paper. Construction workers and contractors worked to craft these visions into reality. Through their expertise, structures stand on solid foundations. Through their experience, roofs protect from nature's wrath. We pray that the principles that enable construction professionals, supervisors, and laborers always serve the greater good of our society. May we, as Rotarians, do our part to utilize the fruits of their labor, creating physical infrastructure, in our work of providing programmatic and social intervention to the citizens of our community. Supporting partnerships are a crucial part of advancing society and impacting individual lives. We thank you for this gathering of Rotarians and friends, students, and guests, and those who have prepared this nutritious food for our bodies, and for our guest speakers, adding information and wisdom for our consumption. And may we all say, amen.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure, and I have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I say your name, will you please stand at your place and remain standing until President Aaron has the opportunity to welcome you. First, we have Mary Fretz, a guest of Vicki Diamond. We welcome Nicole Pasch, a guest of our speaker. We're pleased to welcome, he told me how to say this, Jeek Mayayu, a guest of Tom Caltagirone. He also told me how to say that. Gary Graff, a guest of John Yates. Jamie Russo, guest of the membership committee. And Todd Hess, guest of the club.
Knock, knock. Knock, knock. Any one of our guests today could become the coveted 300th member of our Rotary Club just by being sponsored by one of our fabulous Rotarians. And what's not to like? Great food, fantastic fellowship, and Tim's got a great program for us today. And the good news is we don't charge for the jokes, just the laughs. You owe me. Rotarians, please help me welcome our guests today. Thank you. Have a few announcements here to go through. Condolences to past President Rob Bowen, whose mother passed away last week. If you see Rob or anybody in his family, please share a thoughtful word of kindness, and if so inclined, please keep he and his family in your prayers. And the committee work, the Communication Committee will meet on May 28th at 3:30 at the Fairway Table at Regents Glen. The York Rotary Foundation Board will meet on May 29th next week at 1:30 p.m. here at the Country Club of York. And I feel like I'm about to read the words of Al Sykes, so help me if I don't get this right. I figured that. Okay, so Al, are you here? Oh, gosh. Okay, here we go. You'll recall that for the past few years, the Rotary Club of York and Lancaster Club of Rotary have taken turns hosting each other for a Revs versus Barnstormers baseball game. This year, it's our turn to host. 275 years after our succession from those folks over in Lancaster, they will try to regain some pride by coming to York for a War of the Roses baseball game at Wellspan Park on July 2nd. Come and enjoy the food as the Revs initiate, and I quote, a beatdown of the Stormers. We will be joined by members of the Lancaster Rotary Club, so come out and share the York hospitality and cheer for the Revs. Come on, give me a woot woot there, Eric. All right. Food is served at 6 o'clock and the game starts at 6:30. Here's the deal that Al has put together for you. The cost of the game and the food is $39. But if you throw in an extra $11 and round up like salespeople want you to do, you can make it a $50 spend and contribute to the fight towards polio for Rotary. So again, Al, raise your hand. That's the man you want to talk to if you want to be there. So please come and join us for that event. And now, again, I'd like to invite President-elect Courtney Piccolo and past President Glenn to the podium to continue their update on the strategic plan.
We're back. Good to see everybody this morning. You will hopefully recall us being up here last week and introducing to you the details of the Rotary Club of York's new 3-year strategic plan. Following our presentation, you should have also received an email with a brief recap of what we said, as well as a one-page summary of the plan of the club. One of the things mentioned in our presentation last week was the need for examination of and realignment of our club's committee structure. I suspect strongly that in your own organizations, whether they are businesses or not-for-profit organizations, your administrative structure has not remained static for decades, but rather is set up to help you accomplish your organization's goals and priorities. I'm just curious, can anyone tell me how many standing committees we have in the Rotary Club of York? Who was the plant? It is 20, thank you. It is 27. 27 separate committees, most of which have not changed in any substantive way for many, many years. Those 27 committees have done a great deal of good work over many years. The committees in any organization like ours are the place where things actually get done. Our Wednesday gatherings are certainly the center of our life together, but the committees are where the work gets done in between the meetings and makes the impact in the wider community. So, why change anything? Simply put, we need to adjust the structure so that it is serving the plan and the direction of the club. A more streamlined committee structure will allow us to match how we are utilizing our resources, human and financial, that serves the plan and allows us to make larger impacts in the York community. Some of the changes are also coming out of things that we've heard directly from you. Members have expressed the desire to have more and better ways of becoming engaged in meaningful work in this club. So we've created some new opportunities for engagement and service. And finally, some of the changes are simply streamlining efforts, merging a few committees that will allow members to join forces more easily, work together, and spend less time making more impact. The result of the restructuring starts with 5 categories under which the new committees will fall. Think of the categories somewhat as like the old lane structure that we had years ago. Those categories are now club operations, youth success, service impact, York Rotary Foundation, and governance. And here to unpack all of that is President-elect Courtney.
Thank you, Past President Glenn. So now I will go through each of the categories and give you a brief explanation of some of the changes. And as Past President Glenn mentioned, first up, club operations. So you will see here that we now have 2 membership committees. In the past, we always had 1 membership committee who would attract new members, review membership applications, conduct new member orientation, and manage our mentorship program. But with our club's big focus for the next 3 years being on member engagement, we felt that it made sense to make these 2 separate committees, one for recruitment and one for engagement. And you will also see that we merged the fellowship committee into the membership engagement committee. Another change, we renamed the Rotary Foundation Committee to the Global Rotary Foundation Committee. We did this because our club has our own foundation named the York Rotary Foundation. So the reason for the name change was just to help you distinguish between the 2. The Global Rotary Foundation, that's the committee that coordinates the club member donations to the fund that supports Rotary International Service projects and handles all Paul Harris Fellow recognition. And we added a committee named Meeting Services, which will coordinate volunteers for invocation, singers, cashier and registration, as well as meeting support. So essentially, it was 4 committees that are just now merged all into one committee named Meeting Services. The next category of committees is youth success. With our second big focus area for the next 3 years being on youth success, we put the majority of our committees that focus on youth in their own category. We gave youth service projects a new, more transparent name as we're trying to make our club less confusing. And with our club's focus being on youth, we renamed the literacy committee to be youth literacy. So the real changes that we will see as our committees start to adopt our club's mission and strategic plan will be with the work that's being done within these committees. How cool would it be if the Youth Leadership Committee could expand leadership opportunity, more leadership opportunities to kids in the city? And for the Youth Service Project Committee, I'm excited to see what new projects they will come up with that will serve youth in the city, figuring out where we can make a difference, who can we partner with, and where the Rotary Club of York can make the biggest impact. Now, for the third category of committees, service impact. You will see that we added a new committee named the Service Project Development Committee. Why, you may ask? Well, we recognize that to do big things, we need to have a pulse on critical community needs and work ahead to identify how our club can strategically help to address those needs by identifying and planning for future service projects. This committee will do all of that, as well as vet idea for all club service projects that come up randomly throughout the club year that do not already fall under a specific committee. We merged the Service Above Self Committee into this committee because the recipients of the Service Above Self Award are community members who are doing awesome things. And since this committee will have a lot of action and direct contact with local community leaders as they strategically plan future projects, we felt that it made the most sense to merge this committee. Another change that you will see is that under this committee, task force committees will now live. A task force could be a big service project that is active for a period of time, but once that project is completed, it's no longer active. So for example, this is where the Global Project Committee, who's doing the toilet project in Sandafa, Ethiopia, will live. Then once that project is complete, the task force goes away and it's replaced with another one, either international or local. And we left room for future task forces, as we know it's going to only be a matter of time until an impact project is created that our club will do. The next category is governance. We thought it made the most sense to put the committees that you either have to be appointed to or elected to all together just to make it easier to understand. And here you will note that going forward, the members of the Finance Committee will be appointed. And now for the grand finale, the last committee, or the last category of committees, the York Rotary Foundation, or YRF, as you may hear it referred to. YRF is a separate 501c3 organization that has its own board of directors. It's our club's charitable arm. Its mission is to raise and endow funds to advance the charitable efforts of the Rotary Club of York. Funding comes from club member donations, legacy gifts left by members, and fundraising activities. Returns on these endowed funds and contributions are used to support community projects, York Rotary grants, disaster relief, and York Rotary scholarships. Many of these are local projects that are happening right here in York. You will see we've added a new committee named YRF Fund Development, and this committee will focus on encouraging our members' generous giving through annual contributions and planned legacy gifts to help us grow our endowment so that we can continue the good work that we do right here in York. They will also be developing new ways to recognize the generosity of our members who give to YRF. And lastly, we dissolved the Lend a Hand and Rotary Global Scholarship Committees as a part of this realignment. So in summary, we had 27 committees. We merged 8 of those committees, 2 of them were dissolved, and 4 new committees were added, giving us the grand total of 21 committees that are now in line with our club's mission and strategic plan. We know that these committees changes are a starting point to help us begin the new Rotary year that starts in July in an organized manner with an understanding of the committees that make up our club. Later today, you can view a 2-page document that summarizes everything that past President Glenn and I just shared with you. It'll be sent out to you in an email. It'll also be posted on our club's Facebook page, as well as listed on the website. Additionally, if you are a committee chair for next year, we will be reviewing this all together at our meeting next month in June. I do want to thank the club members that have already agreed to be committee chairs for the upcoming year. All the committees that were just presented to you have committee chairs already for the upcoming year. And I also want to thank those who helped to put all of this together. This is not just something Glenn and I sat in a room and threw a dart at committee list creating. It's something that's been worked on for the past several months by a number of people. Our club's board of directors, our executive director, Lynn, thank you so much for everything that you've been doing to help put this together, as well as our executive team and the strategic planning committee. So what does all of this mean for you? As you know, our Rotary year ends in a month at the end of June. So the timing of this restructure works well with the start of our new Rotary year. All members will be receiving an email in June that will allow you to select the committees that you want to be a part of. But the takeaway from today is that we are already living out the strategic plan that was just rolled out last week in terms of aligning our resources to support our club's priorities. And you now hopefully have a clear understanding of the opportunities to engage in a way that's truly meaningful to you. More ways to serve, ways to feel good about being a Rotarian, and a chance to try something new if you want. Thank you.
I would tell you as acting club president, when you see 27 committees, this club can be a bear to manage. And Courtney and I were going back and forth on this last week. When it was handed to me, it was actually 32 committees. So it's even a more drastic change in what you realize. But the point of this is that, in my opinion, that efficiency often brings effectiveness. And I think that's been a big drive of what has been some very hard decisions and conversations to arrive at this point. That to say that there can never be too much praise for all the Rotarians who helped with the strategic plan to get it across the finish line. A job well done. And we look forward to our club's continued growth and impact. And so we can always make every day a great day to be a Rotarian. And now I'd like to introduce Past President Mike Summers to introduce our program. Past President Mike.
Well, welcome everybody. Our speaker today is developer Tim Pasch. His lovely wife, Nicole, is with him. Tim grew up one of 8 children and was born in Lewistown, New York. And his father moved his family to York to take a job at Red Star Express Trucking Company. Tim grew up attending St. Joe's Elementary School, York Catholic High School, and then he attended Penn State University for a business administration and engineering major. He began to work as a resident assistant at Penn State University to pay for his college. And Tim was fortunate enough to form a relationship with Ron Brillhart of Eisenhart Real Estate Company, and he was offered a job the summer after graduation, and he's been in the world of real estate for over 35 years. Tim incorporated Tim F. Pasch Incorporated in 1990 and has developed many projects and has transformed York County, both residential and commercial. Tim's most recent and largest project is Freedom Square Community. Freedom Square is a master plan community with a town center experience that includes both residential and commercial development programs featuring extensive outdoor amenities. Live, work, and play is Tim's goal for the community, and Tim will share his thoughts about the development and what is next for his company. Fellow Rotarians and guests, please warmly welcome Tim Pasch.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Aaron. And I have to thank Frank and Nicole, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be up here, because Frank strong-armed me. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm here, and my goal today is 3 things. I'll tell you a little bit about my journey and tell you a little bit about housing, and then at the end, tell you the best part is Freedom Square. So as Mike said, I'm one of 8, and if some of you know me, some of you don't, but I was the bad kid. So I still probably am, but it is what it is. So, and my family has grown from that to, I have 67 nieces and nephews now. So 38 regulars and the rest are grands. So Uncle Timmy pays for Christmas, basically. So I'll be brief, but my overall story is, as I said, I'm one of 8. The hardest thing that I've experienced was my parents' tough love. And because I was so bad that my parents told me I had to if I wanted to go to college, I had to pay for it myself. So it was really difficult. So, but I did it, and my student loans weren't forgiven like they are now, and I put most of it on a credit card. Long story short, but my dad always said steel sharpens steel. So I guess it worked because that's where I learned how to work. So, and then basically I came home, as Mike said, from Penn State. And these notes, Nicole asked me if I was going to read to her what I was going to say, and I didn't have any notes. So she said I probably should. So I wrote notes this morning. I'm like, at 4 o'clock, I'm writing notes, but so I wrote a few notes, but so I came back home and had no money, had all these bills. And back then you couldn't do it now, but John probably remembers, but John H. Myers used to allow, you could go there and talk them into buying a lot. And I borrowed money from them, and I built my first house, and I had no money. And now a 2x4 was $1, and I was probably playing $3 because they made money off of everything that I did. But that's really where I started. And then I kept building homes all that time. And then 08 hit. So I thought I was King Tut, and I thought I was diversified. I didn't realize that if you're in diversified only in real estate, it was really stupid. So so in 08, I was building about 200 homes, and I was selling about 100 lots to other builders a year. So, and it went from that to zero. So, I had to start all over. And so at that time, I think I owed about $100 million in debt. And then the mortgages weren't the problem. It was the real estate taxes. I didn't know, because I had sales all the time. I didn't know that I even really paid real estate taxes. I didn't pay attention. So, but to pay $3-4 million a year in real estate taxes when we had no sales, it was really hard. So I spent the last 16 years fighting my way back to here. So, I get a little emotional, so sorry. It was a really long journey. And if it wasn't for Nicole, I met her during that time, it was good. So, so let me just figure out this clicker so I don't get too emotional. Is that right? It doesn't turn. Oh, no, that's not it. Sorry. Let me go to the beginning. So that's me, that picture there. So, long story short, just to give you an idea of, I told you my little quick story, but these are projects that I picked some that were all around the county so you could see what we've done. So I've built townhouses. We built retirement, the Paddock community. Jack's here somewhere. He lives there. Lincoln Pines, those are rentals. And we've done projects like Windsor Plaza. We've done Market Street Commons, Seneca Ridge, which is down in Loganville. My biggest, newest project, we just finished the Aldi's in Red Lion. I don't know if you know where that is, but, and we have another phase to go in the back. So, Carnegie is on there as well. That's where my office building is. And then somebody mentioned today, where I used to live is on Market Street, where the old Beasley house is. So, it got too busy there. So, and I didn't want anybody to tear it down. So I created a wedding venue there. So the house was built in 1823. That's totally restored. And then we have an event space there. And then Freedom Square. So there, we've done many projects, but I just wanted you to know some of the things that we've done. So, and then I wanted to talk about housing. These are not my graphs, but they project, Dun and Bradstreet, that's this one. They project that in York will grow by 5% in housing. And basically in 16, we were doing 2,000 homes. And now for the last few years, we're only doing 600 homes. And this is the trend that's been going down. And I was telling Aaron, basically the long story short, there's less sales, but new construction's still busy because if you want a home, you almost have to buy a new home because there's no homes for sale because the rates were so cheap. So everybody that has a home that doesn't, you know, a death or a divorce or take a job elsewhere, they're not really moving. So that's why new construction is busy. And then basically, these are just basically how many homes have sold. It's decreased considerably in York. It was 795 in 21. Now it's 334. So again, these are the days on the market. So there's nothing for sale. So again, it's still a seller's market, even at 7% rates. And then that's basically the growth they predict. That says 2050. You can't really see it, but that says 2050. So it's obviously York is going to continue to grow. It's not as growth is down south. And then before we get into Freedom Square and those type of things, there's 30 million square feet of warehouse that's either built or being built right now within a 5-mile radius of my new project. York is, the warehouse is obviously massive in this area. So Elle's going to help me with this, but I wanted you to get a perspective of what this is. So I've gone totally off script that I wrote down, but whatever. So, you got the music to work. You don't really need the music, but so I figured I'd talk while you see this. I'm not a very good drone person, but there's a little bit of a video here. So I started putting these farms together. There it is. So it's 460 acres, and I started to buy it in 2004. So it's been a while. And then I bought the largest farm in 2017. So we're 3/4 of a mile from 83. And then I've been working on it ever since. But that's some of the footage of the farms and the landscape. And out of 460 acres, we're preserving 200 and some of it. It's almost 50% of the whole project is open space. So as I went through this, I interviewed a bunch of engineers. We tried a couple different things, and I didn't like anything that we were creating. So years ago, I went to Pittsburgh for a week, and I hired this group, and we created this way to make basically a whole new town. And so it's not as you normally see it in York. It's not like how we normally buy 20 acres and we put houses in it and then just whoever builds next. It's just how it is. So I worked really hard to be able to make one massive master plan. And that's basically, what we're here to talk about today. Was that the end? Oh, it's a little bit more. But long story short, there's tons of land, but there's also tons of open space. It's probably not on the next slides, but it's when I'm done, we'll have built 14 miles of street. So that's 28 miles of sidewalk. And then I think there's 12 more miles of walking trails and those type of things there as well. Is that it, Al? That's good enough. We can skip that. There we go. So this is what everybody wanted to know about. It's over 740 singles, 296 active adult, which we don't typically build singles anymore unless they're custom homes, but we'll do all the active adult. I tried to incorporate a whole gambit of things that everyone would want. So, the kids could rent there, the parents could buy a home there, and the grandparents could have an active adult or be in senior care or memory care, or that could even be Alzheimer's, whatever it might need. So 180,000 square feet of office space, garden apartments, 2 hotels, restaurants, storage and flex space, and townhouse rentals, and urban apartments, and then 350 senior apartments. So we've tried to capture everything that we possibly can in the market. But the hard part is the economics of it, obviously. But I had to do an economic study, and this whole plan is recorded. The entire master plan is approved and recorded. But it's 21 million annual property taxes that will create revenue. And so for the school, I forget what it was. I think they would, after hiring more teachers and everything, they still end up with a profit of over $4 million when the project's done. So the school is not, it's impacted, but they're getting that revenue back. We're going to generate almost 5,000 construction jobs and over 1,500 permanent jobs. And the overall project will, it'll cost over $2 billion to do the whole thing. I must be crazy. I'm not sure. So, in 08, I said I would never do development again, whoever would do that, but I guess I forgot those times. So, again, a couple of things that you might not know about. If you know where Emmetsville is and you know where Strinestown is, we're on Canal Road. And I've been working with the state, and I'm hoping in the next 3 years, 5 years, it depends on the state, we'll have an interchange on 83. So that's when that happens, is when the hotel and those type of things will go in. But we're totally changing Canal Road. There will be a huge roundabout there when we're done. I got a grant to do, I got $1.5 million grant to do the roundabout on Canal Road. So, and these are just some people, Kristen and one of the attorneys who works for the township, some people that were talking good about the project and the impact. And then Mike Reagan, Senator Reagan, and Joe Dorsey, they've been really, really supportive. And on that, I'm meeting Congressman Smucker next week, and then I go present it to the governor's team next week as well. So everybody wants to help. And it's probably the largest development in the East Coast in the last 30, 40 years. So, but it's going to take some time. This, you don't have to read all this, but this is basically, if you ever wanted to know how hard it is to develop a project, these are all the milestones. We've had so many meetings and we were doing Zoom calls during COVID with DEP, and it was like 50 DEP people in little squares on my computer. And it took a long time, but now we're to this phase, and all that color is all the phases of the project. So I don't know if I'll be alive in 2042, but that's basically how long it's going to take. So it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to impact York, and we still need housing. What happened during COVID is that all the builders, developers, there was nothing really going on. So development stopped happening. So we have builders calling all the time that want to buy lots because they can't find any other lots in York. So, which is obviously a good thing. So this is what we're starting this summer. It's the first phase of 167 lots, and we are interviewing builders now. I had interviewed 8 of them. I narrowed it down to 2, and I'll probably select one of them in the very near future. And then we've interviewed contractors to do the site work. But the first phase is really, really expensive to get the sewer in. And so it's, to give you an idea of how DEP has changed over the years, I'm building another street in one of the developments up in Dover called the Seasons. 200 and some lots. When it will be finished, we built 1 pond for the whole thing. This is 167 lots, and I have to build 12 ponds. And so people wonder why their lot costs go up or their homes costs have gone up. It's because just to convert those ponds at the end, it's like $1.8 million. So that's why lots were 20 and 30 and 50, and now they're 100 and some. Basically, that's one of the main reasons. So the first phase is over, I think it's over $10 million to just improve the first phase. So I told Aaron I'd be quick and I'd answer whatever, but one of the last things, I guess it's ironic that I'm here during Memorial Day weekend. We didn't plan that. It must have been God's plan, because Frank asked me when could you do it? I'm like, May would work. And then, long story short, I named it Freedom Square because I wanted to figure out a way to give back. So 08 was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but it's nothing compared to what our veterans have done and people who have fought for our country. So we're every year, my goal is that we're going to build a home for a wounded veteran for free. So I'm going to donate the lot, and then I'm going to raise money and hopefully raise money. I might have to build the whole thing. I'm not sure, but and then we'll continue doing that. So if we can raise money in the future, we'll do that. We already have our golf outing scheduled for October 6th of 25. So hopefully we'll have one veteran moved in, and we'll help more as we continue on. So the foundation basically helps children and veterans for housing, schooling, and whatever they might need. So my speech is obviously pretty quick, but I didn't want to be standing here all the time. And Aaron said he's a clock watcher, so I didn't know if I had time. So I'll answer any questions, or if Aaron, you want to do questions later, or how do you want to do that? So I went through quick, and there's brochures here. You can take it if you want. There's some information about the project. And like I said, I'll answer any questions that anybody might have about housing or about the project or whatever well, I can't tell you everything, but some things. What? No problem. I can talk longer.
Yeah, not really a question, Tim, but a congratulations. You and I have known each other for a long time, and development is a struggle. But I think you're meeting the needs of the housing in York County, as has been defined in many of the studies. So congratulations, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's as Mike said, it's definitely live, work, play. I mean, if we can meet the needs of people, it's housing's difficult. Housing's expensive. Someone asked how we can meet workforce housing. Well, part of the project is designed where it is, one, because the land is there, but it's also because all those warehouses, you know, someone told me that it's for every 1,000,000 square feet, they need 500 workers. Where they're going to get all these workers, I have no idea, because I can't find any. So, but so there's definitely a need for that type of housing. Yes.
Yeah, it's obviously a little bit imprecise because this is a long time frame, but of the time frame in which you're contemplating building this project, do you have an estimate or a guess as to what percentage of York County's total residential growth needs can be met in this one project?
I really don't. I know that, so I wrote love letters to all these commercial groups. I picked the top 100, and I was trying to land Wegmans. And we had a couple meetings, but this project meets 50% of their demand, but around it doesn't meet enough. They need I think $1.5 million a week in revenue to make it justify one of their buildings. So we've been talking to other grocers, which is great. But so I know that we will meet the demand of that, but I don't know the overall housing in York.
Can you talk a little bit about your company and how you manage at this scale? Because obviously it's not just you, or maybe it is just you. Now, can you talk about your organization and the way that you break down and handle the work?
So there's an advantage when it's just you, because I don't answer to anyone but myself. So it's just me, as far as ownership or whatever you want to call that. But I have a wonderful staff. I have probably, I think there's 12 of them that are all reaching close to 30 years with me. So they stuck with me through ugly times, and they stuck with me through COVID, all those type of things. So my staff is fantastic, but the bad side is when it's just you, I work all the time. So or play golf. But so it's, the market is really difficult, and we've struggled during this time as far as hiring really qualified people. And all of us are getting older, so I worry in 5 to 10 years, because the younger generation, no offense, they don't really have that work ethic. So we hire people and they disappear, and then we hire others, and it's really hard. But so I do, the only way that I could figure out to grow and not have a massive employment group was to develop land, and we put in streets for other builders as well. So that really, I have a whole bunch of side businesses basically. And not to be funny, but development is really, Freedom Square is really a side business compared to us, our construction and those type of things. I don't know if that answered your question, Albert, but.
Can you tell us, I noticed that over a while back, the standard deduction for income taxes was increased, which had the effect of making mortgage deductions less important for particularly people of purchasing smaller homes and that type of thing. Are you seeing an impact over time on the type of housing that is in demand? In other words, is it transitioning from mostly single-family homes to maybe more like communities such as condominiums and apartments, or what are you seeing in terms of housing trends?
I see that it's probably one of the biggest housing trends that we see. 20 years ago, this would not work in York because the lots are so small. So the only way to make open space, so the families want all the activities, but they don't want to take care of a big yard. So the younger families are moving towards these smaller lots, much tighter together. And so that's the families. But because housing is so expensive now in York, there is a huge group of renters out there that probably might not ever own a home because they just don't have the money to put the down money. So there's a massive amount of renters out there that we deal with every day. So Albert, I forgot about that. I own a bunch of rentals. We build them and then we rent them out as well. And we do a lot of commercial work too. But so the housing is definitely changing. And there's a much larger demand of active adult. You know, everybody's living longer, everybody's healthier longer. So that population where as long as we cut the grass, shovel the snow, they're happy still owning a home or owning a condo before they go into assisted living, basically. So everything's stretching longer. And obviously that's because of medicine and everybody living much longer than they used to.
Thank you for your heartfelt story and testimony of what you went through during 2008 and to today. I'm just curious, this might seem like an oddball type question, but what was your breakout moment to get out of that rut that you were in back in 2008? Was it luck with perseverance? What was the proportion between luck and perseverance?
I would say that, believe it or not, probably the best thing for me, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but the best thing for me was 2008. Because before that, all I did was work. I didn't really know much else other than I'd get up and I'd go to work every day. So, but then in 2008, funnily, I needed to find something to do because I couldn't work every day because we didn't have a lot of work. So that's when I started playing golf. So now I'm a little addicted to that, but so I figured even myself that live work environment. So, but it was truly just perseverance, like just grinding it every day, and you just can't give up. I mean, there was many a days that was unbelievable. And believe me, banks were calling all the time. But we worked through it, and I could tell you there was, many weeks it was 80, 100 hours just trying to figure it out. So, and obviously risk, when you're self-employed, it's a lot of risk. So if you're willing to take the risk, my entire family thinks I'm crazy still. So, but they all have jobs, and they all have, they're happy working somewhere, and we all need those employees where they're just happy to go to work and it's safe. I've never really lived in the safe environment, ever since I was a kid. So I don't know if that answers it, but that's basically what it was.
So Tim, since you raised the game of golf, this is a kind of a lighthearted question. I'm a golfer, and coming down the fourth fairway, I have a wonderful view of the house going up. So I'd love to know, what is the roof going to look like, and what's the exterior going to be?
Sorry, there's I knew this was going to come up, but again, another crazy thing that I wanted to do. So Nicole laughs because I never got to build a house of my own. So this was an opportunity to do my own thing. And the roof's going to be all cedar shake. It's going to take me a while. It's going to take another year to finish the house probably, and the outside is basically all stone. So what other questions?
This is from Kevin Appnow. Sometimes school district lines get a little confusing. What school district does this project fall into?
So it's peace, Kevin. It's in Conewaga Township, and it's Northeastern Schools. So there's a school right up the street from the development. It's an elementary school, and then the other schools, the middle school and the high school, are fairly new, but they will have to either expand those or build more. Obviously, people aren't having as many children as they used to, but there's still going to be a school need. Hopefully that answers. Thank you.
So Tim, I do have one last question. Is dreaming easy, or is dreaming hard? See, this is the thing. It's the one word I did not hear throughout your entire presentation was the word dream. And I say that because that's what I felt really strongly. I mean, I got the courage and vision, all that, but I kept feeling the power of dreams in your personal story of how you got there, and as well as that project. But you know what? To me, dreaming did not sound easy the way you told it to me. And when you shared that Freedom Project, I thought, wow, I wish I knew how to dream like that. But it reminded me that for me personally, that dreaming is not always easy. But your message tells me and others that dreaming, if it isn't easy, it's always worth it. And I would tell you, Tim, on behalf of the club, keep on dreaming and keep up the hard work. It's worth it for all of us. Let's give Tim another round of applause. We will be donating the book Different is Beautiful by Melanie Haiti. It will be donated to the Devers Elementary School in the city of York, along with the bookmark. Oh, yeah, okay, Michael. Yay. Well, he didn't write it. I only charge for the laughs. Made by the students at Creative York. Next week, we got a really cool program. We have Dr. Eric Darr, who serves as president of Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. Under his leadership, the university has expanded with a Philadelphia location, increased enrollment to over 6,000, and launched new programs and centers. Dr. Darr, with a background in teaching and publishing on organizational learning and technology management, has consulted for over 20 multinational corporations. During his presentation to us next week, Dr. Darr will delve into the university's significant growth and expansion in advanced agriculture. He will provide updates on exciting developments, including new urban greenhouses in downtown York and strategic partnerships with the York Fairgrounds. Yay, York. These initiatives, in collaboration with leading Dutch agriculture technology firms, are poised to catapult York and Pennsylvania to the forefront of agriculture technology. That said, have an amazing Rotarian week. This meeting is adjourned.